Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM, and if you're enjoying what you're seeing on the channel at the moment, have a give this video a like and maybe subscribing to the channel to help us grow, and perhaps even check out our Patreon. Today I'm here at the Norfolk Tank Museum for their Armourfest event thing. They've got lots of visiting vehicles and demonstrations, and it's kind of my kind of thing. And starting off, my friends from the Norfolk Fire Museum are here, so we're going to look at them. So obviously I've seen a green goddess before, and I've got a video of driving one of those come out at some point, but the one on the right is the 4x4, the more common one. This one next door to it is one of the rarer rear-wheel drive, so this isn't the 4-wheel drive version, it's just a 2-wheel drive, and obviously you can see the profile is different as it sits a bit lower. It's particularly cool to see the two variants side by side. It really highlights the difference between the two and just how much more squat the 2-wheel drive one is. And then we got one of the Mercedes. Now this isn't the one, but it's one of the same type and age that replaced my own RS as part of Norfolk Fire Service.
And there was the pair of Austin K2s that I'd seen at the Bressingham Fire Engine Show. Outside the main workshop were a couple of vehicles awaiting their place in the restoration queue, which gives you some idea of the amount of work that goes into these vehicles. The actual event was huge, with a massive number of visiting vehicles and displays from all over the country. There was so much to look at, so I decided to start at the beginning. And like any military show, there were a lot of Land Rovers.
I want one of them.
With East Anglia having a high proportion of American bases during the war, it's only appropriate to have a good showing of American vehicles here at Armourfest, including the instantly recognisable Jeep and some other bigger and more imposing machines. And I particularly liked this all-terrain car. That's just my kind of thing. It was great how friendly everybody was as well, willing to share the stories of their vehicles.
So the biggest problem with all of this is I accept that all of these vehicles are cool, but as military vehicles aren't my speciality, I can tell you nothing about any of them.
Apart from there were an awful lot of them, and they came in a variety of shapes, colours, sizes, and with different amounts of equipment.
Now a lot of these off-roady vehicles all look the same, but that one, being a 6-wheel drive version, that's proper cool. I think it's a Dodge as well. But that's cool, I like that.
I also really like these, including the Sherman and whatever this was.
Now, I am categorically banned from having tracked vehicles in the shed. However... that is brilliant. This is the single greatest warning I've ever seen. Remember to put the drain plugs in, otherwise it won't float.
The first thing I caught in the demonstration area were the post-World War II vehicles, which featured a variety of Land Rovers, including the short and long-wheeled varieties, motorbikes, trucks, and a selection of other bits and bobs. And seeing these rugged vehicles being put through their paces on some of the more challenging aspects of the demonstration arena was hugely entertaining, and of course it was all the better from the best seat of the house, which was from my drone. So enjoy watching the action from a completely unique angle that nobody else got to see. And whilst I've seen your more traditional off-road vehicles like Land Rovers tackle things like this before, I've never seen anything quite like this. And I was so excited to see them actually taking one of the trucks over this terrain and showing just how capable it was. It just looked so wrong fighting its way over the dunes, but credit to the guys for taking it out there. I think it's so important to preserve these vehicles to help tell the tale of the conflicts they've been part of, and, to a degree, the freedom that we all enjoy that they've helped secure. They represent an important part of our past, and when you take everything else away, they're just really impressive pieces of equipment designed to really take a battering and go anywhere. And I think that this one is an Austin Champ, which was Austin's version to taking on the Jeep. Now this was a wonderful vehicle, but overcomplicated with everything sealed away. It was waterproof, shockproof and dustproof, which meant that even doing a simple job like changing the spark plugs is a pain in the backside to remove all of the coverings and protection. And that ultimately made it lose out to the much more simple Jeep. I also really like all the flags that are flying from this one. I think one of them represents the regiment that this vehicle was attached to, but it really captures your attention as it goes past. It was also great to see a ferret armoured car out showing just what it's capable of. I've seen these things before, but never actually taken on terrain like this. Normally it's just out on the open road, and while they give the impression of being able to go off-road, it's great to actually see that in the flesh. And full credit to the driver for going around this, because I believe the visibility on these are awful and you rely heavily on the commander up in the turret to help you navigate your way around. It really was a superb collection of vehicles trundling around, and I know I said it before, but I just loved seeing the vehicles take on these different bits of terrain. It was absolutely fascinating, and a massive thank you to the event organisers for giving me permission to fly the drone around and over the displays to give me bits like this. I was able to get into position to get another shot as the Bedford made its way over the train, and just notice how close that front bumper gets to grounding out as it comes down the incline. That is seriously close. There was so much going on, with different vehicles attacking different parts of the course at all times, which made it really hard to know where to look. But sometimes you've got some really cool parallel running, like this. And to get a real sense of scale, this is the demonstration area from above, with the footage sped up to give you an idea of just how many vehicles were out and what they were up to. It was genuinely impressive, and I was very envious of the guys who got to do this, because I would love to have a drive around on that. And once the demonstration was over, the vehicles that had been out returned to the paddock and lined up with the others for the public to be able to get up close and personal with, and really appreciate the differences between all these mighty machines. And it was great to see such a variation of different trucks lined up next door to each other, and this is the kind of stuff that really interests me.
Oh, I like that.
There were more than just vehicles on display. There were some recreations of bases, complete with the correct vehicles, facilities and utilities to give a flavour of what would have been there, including playing the right radio and having a selection of vehicles that would have been used in this kind of deployment, which really helped for those of us who don't know to understand a bit better how these things would have gone together. And then I found my new favourite vehicle.
It's fitted with a foam cannon on the roof. Oh, just brilliant.
There were also rides being offered to the public in the BV, which looks absolutely brilliant. This 4-tracked little machine, I believe, is Swedish and designed to be able to work in loads of conditions, including Antarctica. In the dry conditions, however, it did kick up quite a lot of dust.
So there are plenty of vehicles here, but also stuff from the home fleet of the museum, including this Chieftain, which is a big battle tank, like massive great thing, which apparently actually is about to go out and do stuff, so I'm going to watch that.
In order to start up this behemoth, they have to first fire up a separate engine, rev that up, and then that is what becomes the starter motor for the gigantic engine inside the tank. So you have the starter to start the starter to start the engine. Having not really seen main battle tanks up close and personal before, this was a truly awe-inspiring experience. The sheer amount of power that this thing emanated is unlike anything else I've ever seen, and the way it just ate up the terrain like it wasn't there was just incredible. I know that this is designed to be a serious bit of kit, but it is just next level, and I don't think there's ever been a vehicle that I want to have a go in quite as much as that, because it is utterly next level. The sad thing about it was that it is so expensive to run that it only was out for a short amount of time because it just burns a colossal amount of diesel, but it was worth every single second, and I love it. I just need a go in one of these machines because I don't have the words.
After that we have this, which is a Centurion, and then a Ferret. Now if I was going to get myself some armour, the Ferret is probably what I'd go for. Part next to that is the slightly bigger Fox, which I think is similar but bigger gun. Then we have a Scorpion, which is that thing, which is next door to a Scimitar, which again, similar, in fact the same chassis but different gun on it. And then there's another Scimitar, and I'll be honest, past this I then forget what people said. Oh, this is a on the Scimitar chassis, whatever that is, but it's a mobile command vehicle. Then they told me what that is, but I can't remember, but it's a 6-wheel drive. That was used in Northern Ireland. That's the one with a turret on it. These are all on the same chassis.
What's particularly impressive is the fact that all the vehicles lined up in the pen here are part of the Norfolk Tank Museum's home fleet. These aren't visitors, they live here. And there's one more notable vehicle, and that is Deborah 2, the replica female Mark IV tank that you may have heard about because Guy Martin was involved in its construction. And this thing is a real lumbering brute, which unfortunately I was busy chatting to other people and looking at other exhibitions and missed seeing it performing in the arena.
And seeing it trundle about is just amazing. The very ground shakes, and to think of what the other side must have thought when they saw this thing trundling towards them for the first time. You've never seen anything like this, and then this monstrosity comes towards you. It must have been terrifying.
Another replica First World War tank was the Whippet the Music Box, whose original story includes a 10-hour rampage behind German lines. The next excitement in the arena was the recovery demonstration, showing how these machines would recover a vehicle that had become stuck or immobilised out in the field. And this is my kind of thing. So first up, they had to go and position the players. And then they could go and pull the winch out of the recovery vehicle, having deployed the shovel to act as a ground anchor. In fact, I think the hardest thing about this whole demonstration for the crew was just pulling out this cable to take it over to the stricken vehicle. Once he'd finally managed to get it there, it was a matter of attaching it to said stricken vehicle, firing up the revs, pulling the cable tight, and then they could begin the recovery. The scenario of this demonstration was that of a vehicle that had lost engine power, hence why the tracks are still going around. But the way that this vehicle was recovered and how they had gone about it would be the same for any kind of salvage, whether this vehicle had been mostly destroyed, was stuck, or had lost its tracks. This is the general universal procedure of recovering a vehicle, and you really get a sense of just how powerful that winch is, because these are not lightweight vehicles, and to be able to drag it across a battlefield or rough terrain to bring it into an area of safety is a hugely important part of having armoured vehicles. And once the demonstration was complete, both vehicles were fired up and headed off to do a parade lap around the demonstration area.
Stupid question, what's forward on that? Is that forward with the thing at the back, or is the thing on the back on the front? Now, you all know me that I don't like modern vehicles, however that... Now, okay, I appreciate that no 7 is no longer a modern vehicle, but that is a cool modern vehicle that I 100% would have. As, admittedly, would I have any of these over here? Because, I mean, they're just awesome. I want something like this. As would I like that? That's a proper Land Rover. Not what you think like a Defender, that's a proper Land Rover. Or that, I want big vehicles.
And speaking of big vehicles, next up was the Tug of War, which that car, with help of some pyrotechnics, definitely lost. It's one of the things I really like about the Norfolk Tank Museum, is the fact that they're not afraid to put the vehicles through their paces and put on a bit of a show. Ripping a car apart may be a little bit over the top, but it shows the kind of forces that are able to be produced by these vehicles. And it's a real crowd pleaser. This has got to be another one of those vehicles that I really want to go in. This just speaks to me on a spiritual level. That is a proper truck. And I think I need one in my life. In fact, the entire display of vehicles here are machines that I am itching to be able to have a play with, because they really are big boys' toys. And there's something fundamentally cool about big, heavy vehicles, and anything with Caterpillar tracks is universally cool anyway, so combining the two for things like this gives you something that's in a whole new ballpark of awesome. There wasn't really time to draw breath though, because up next it was the World War II era vehicles entering the arena. And out of all of the veteran vehicles that had entered the arena, there was one standout vehicle which was really going that extra mile to put on one hell of a show. Although the Sherman wasn't the only vehicle showing off just what it was capable of. These vehicles are all amazing survivors from a terrible conflict, and they help us to tell that story, and so we can learn from the mistakes of the past. One of the things I really did like though were the guys in full costume to really help tell the story and set the scene for that vehicle. And as they trundle around, it was great to be able to forget some of the seriousness behind it and just marvel at the engineering of heavy duty machines thundering about off-road. And again, I really enjoyed being able to fly the drones somewhere no one else was and get a shot really showing the suspension of the Sherman working as it tackled some of the terrain. And I was also really excited to get a shot of my new favourite tracked vehicle, whatever this little thing is. It's just so ditty and cute, isn't it? I want one of those. I think that's very cool. And again, as we follow the German tank here, it's great to marvel at how the tracks eat up the terrain and to marvel at the fact that this and the other machines that were charging around were once machines of terror that brought fear and death, are now machines of joy and excitement that bring an audience of people to celebrate them and enjoy seeing them in action. It's a weird reversal of fortune for these machines to change absolutely everything that they are about. From machines of war to machines of pleasure and entertainment, it's certainly something quite strange to think about. Armourfest wasn't all about the vehicles, however, and one of my favourite displays was this one, showing a reenactment of dealing with unexploded ordnance. There was plenty of information showing different types of bombs and the way that it would have been dealt with, and I really liked this. There were also dioramas showing different kinds of warfare and vehicles, and of course the event sponsors, which were Kobe Bricks, who make a variety of armoured vehicles in Lego type plastic. And to finish off the day, the remaining vehicles from the home fleet made their way to the demonstration area. And first out was the Centurion. Following rapidly was one of the scimitars. Next out was the other scimitar. On the same chassis but with a different gun, next up was the Scorpion. Trading in tracks for four wheels, the next out was one of the Foxes. And following in the heels of the Fox was the Sultan Command vehicle. The last vehicle to head out into the arena was the Piranha 8-wheel drive APC. Having these machines lined up had been impressive enough, but seeing them come to life as they attacked the arena was absolutely fantastic. These are truly great machines, and I can't think of a better way to wind down at the end of the day than to see the home fleet be put through its paces and enjoy some proper heavy vehicle action.
And with that, that brings us to the end of the day here at Armourfest, and it has been incredible. There's been so much stuff that I just did not know existed, so much stuff that I've seen, and it's just been non-stop things going on. I haven't been able to see all of what was going on, and I've missed so many things. I've missed displays, I've missed things going around the arena. It's one of those things you kind of need 2 days to really see all of it. And there's stuff happening tomorrow that didn't happen today in the arena, so it really is a two-parter. But with that, thank you all very much for watching. If you have enjoyed this, how about clicking somewhere, I don't know, over there for something else, or down there for something else, or yeah, like, subscribe, do the normal stuff, and leave a comment if you'd like to see more armory things on the channel, because I want to do more things. I want to do that. That's cool. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Ta-da!